been a few weeks. I know I've let the, video recording really flag lately. There's not been a lot of good updates to get on here, but I did realize I think that this time in marathon training is what I really wanted to highlight too. And I feel bad that I didn't really document it. Of course, I want to get all gussied up beforehand, but here I am, looking pretty good for a Sunday afternoon. At least I showered for this. I did have my long run. Just to recap, I think I've done up to weeks, excuse me, 10, and still have to kind of highlight my 18-mile run. And last week's, was kind of a drawback. It was 12 miles, and then I had my 20-mile run just today, and it was very, very good. The weather has been fairly humid, so the last two previous weeks have been fairly horrendous in that just the humidity has been something in its own right to battle. So the hydration has been kind of a big battle there. And then this week it wasn't as bad. This week, well, not really unfortunately, my husband has been leaving for work a little bit earlier. So I've had to either get my butt up and run extremely early, or if I'm, working from home, working or taking a run on my lunch break when it's extremely hot. So that's made it a little harder, but I've made sure that those runs, if I'm working from home, kind of are the shorter runs. So unfortunately, like I'm running 8 miles at 4 o'clock in the morning, which makes for an extremely extremely long day if I have to go into work. From there, it's not been too bad. I think I feel a little better than I did last year. I don't feel as I want to say pregnant. I I felt last year about this time that my body was secreting so much nutrients towards the running that my gums were bleeding when I was flossing my teeth, and I was definitely not getting as much nutrition. Get I did drop about 10 pounds overall throughout the marathon training. And I do think that I wasn't quite getting as much nutrients as I should have been. I'd pack my usual non-training meals and prepping all of that out. I noticed that I would start to pad a little bit more, or I'd just raid junk stuff, which wasn't probably helping me out. This time around, I'm kind of padding it with a lot more protein and whatnot, especially if I'm packing lunches after run, on days where I'd run in the morning, which was, 90% of the time. There's probably about uh, 30 grams more protein in every lunch that I'd have, and then I'd have a few more snacks with that. So I'm staying about the same weight, which I'm more than okay with at this point in time. It's not a time to really try to lose any poundage here, especially when you're talking, okay, you're getting up to miles that you haven't run in a while. So it's either one has to give. So being able to maintain, I'm so happy with, especially when you think of how hot it is and the amount of hydration is that's just required right now is almost ridiculous. So I'm very happy that I'm able to keep that constant, and I'm not gaining anything on top of it to kind of counteract that. So other than that, I have been slacking on the cross training, not as much weightlifting as I should be doing, but I knew that some of it would have to give. I'm just happy that I'm able to do 2 instead of 3 days a week of at least something. And I really noticed that taking the time to stretch every day, whether it's even a rest day, a running day, or um, cross training weights or whatever, I'm really taking the time to stretch it out. Again, I'm still not getting the niggles that I did last year in my hips, and my knees are. still doing pretty okay on that one. The only thing that I have noticed on my long runs is my shoes, and I threw them out today, so hopefully I'll get some more tomorrow. Is my Dr. Scholl's insole started to like creep up in the sole, and after mile like 8, no, I'd say today it was definitely mile 12. I could feel it right at the. I'm not even going to show you my feet because I don't even think they're appropriate to. Yeah, they're pretty bad, but just right under my toes, right on the balls, right there, it was grinding into it, and I knew I was going to have some pretty gnarly blisters. It's one thing to get blisters on the sides and on the top of your feet, and it's another one to get it on a very main part of your foot. And I don't even want to bother with that. We have around 5 more weeks until the nationwide 2016 marathon, um, and this week really had me knowing like, wow, I need I think if I do this again, it's probably going to be with the group run because those long runs at this stage, it's one thing to pop off 10 miles on your own. It's another thing when you pop off 20 miles on your own, and it might just be in my own boredom. You really lose the enthusiasm after a while. I was doing about a 10.5 minute mile overall. I tried to keep it at about a 9:30, but then it came to about a 10:30, which I'm okay with. Again, I do try to keep my long runs about a minute slower than my goal pace race, which is probably going to be at about an 8:30. Not Boston qualifying, but um, something healthy than I can do on my own. I mean, hey, that's a big difference, you know. Half a minute faster pace than I did, you know, my previous one is fairly good on my own. And if I feel like I need help, I'm gonna get help for the next one. That's if I want to do another one. Because the long runs, I just realized, like, I think I'm done with this. I'm sick of running. That's what came through my head today, definitely. So let me just say, that was long. I thought I was kind of prepared. And maybe I was a little disappointed. I didn't get my book, my audio book from the library when I wanted to get it. It was a nice thriller that I was ready, really, really ready for, and excited about, but that didn't happen. And I had another one on hand, which just did not help the pace out very well. And Pandora is literally cycling through the same crap. I mean, if a station can't come up with something new after an hour, um, I'm gonna complain. They're probably gonna hear from me. If you honestly have an endurance station, I mean, and I've literally not really disliked a lot of things. It's not tailored me to my specific wants as much. You shouldn't have to cycle. After an hour and a half, you should have had enough material there or something, you know, to not reset and play the same thing you did an hour ago. Just my thoughts on that one. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy that I can, you know, sluck it off. I can get it done and be happy with that. The other weird thing that's kind of happened, and I think that this also has to go with the nutrition aspect of it. I'm more front loading instead of the end is nigh. I need to pack in some calories and whatnot because I've been on such a deficit. Um, is I haven't had to really stop for had to have like a bathroom stop on any of these longer runs in the past 4 weeks. It's just odd to me. I'm usually the type of person that needs to do that. Now, granted, I have made sure that I'm not rushing out the door to get in the car and go to the trails. I'm really kind of giving myself a little bit of leeway time, waking up earlier to get out earlier too, before it gets too hot, and taking care of business beforehand. But even when I would, so just, you know, use the bathroom thoroughly before leaving the house and going on a long run, I'd still have to, you know, probably do a stop 2 hours into it, if not sooner, knowing that I'd have more to do. So that was a little weird, that I've been able to kind of keep going and doing that. Again, my pace was also dictated with the fact that I did have to stop twice and refill my waters, which is kind of when you're, very stagnant for a fair amount of time too. That's added in. That's about 5 minutes there. So my pace was probably around about a 10-minute mile. That was even with some walking in there and dealing with my foot issue. And then just it obviously bringing down the mood a bit. Either way, I was very happy with that, and it's feeling very real that I can easily at least do this. Now my biggest fear is that my time won't be as good as last year, which the whole goal is to just get faster, which for some reason I kind of feel is unrealistic when you're doing this on your own. But I think if it doesn't happen this year, then we're gonna have to look into some help, or I'll have to look into a different type of hobby. So either way, next week I'm very happy. I have a back week. I don't have to run 20 miles. So that's the last one. And then I have one other longer run, and then we taper and get ready to go. So hopefully I will be documenting more of my tapering aspects. And, oh, I have to find it. It's in the house. The dog took it. My back is kind of feeling, it does need a good rub down. It's just it's not as sharpie pain. I will be stretching out and probably doing the rollers, and then taking. I don't feel it's as good as a tennis ball on your feet. I'll usually take the tennis ball and go against a wall. The only unfortunate thing is my dogs have slobbered all over the tennis balls in the house. So it's gonna be um, that all over my back, which is gonna be an interesting aspect of life. I'll probably need another shower, hence why I look like this. But um, anyway, next week being a shorter week, I will be doing more pace runs and just kind of doing a little bit of work on that. And hopefully, with the added extra time, I do spend a little bit more time on the weights because I have to turn around and do another long run the next week. And I may not be able to get as much time in the cross training. So at least I'm trying to balance that out. Okay, well, if I'm not running as much this week, then I need to make sure that I'm doing enough cross training to counteract the fact that I'm just pounding pavement the next week on. So I feel it kind of washes out. There's probably experts out there that are just going to give me a bunch of flack. And there's a car alarm going off. The other interesting thing that I like to think about too is, especially when I haven't run double digits in a while, starting off on this in the first couple of weeks, like 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks, but 2 months ago, when hitting the 10-mile mark. 10 miles for my long run, while 10 miles is now my midweek run. And that's just popped off before I'm eating my breakfast and getting kids, husband, dogs fed and out the door. So it's kind of interesting to think that I'm pulling that off before um, I'm I'm getting my day started. And I really realized how much I enjoy that. Like, okay, nobody's gonna really do. I mean, whatever anybody else accomplishes today, all right, I've already started my day off right with 10 miles. Usually those runs are always my best too. A few weeks ago, my midweek runs were just kind of slobbing. Oh, but this week, I really embraced it for whatever reason. Probably because I had to wake up earlier, about 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, trying to. Oh, and there goes the car alarm. Uh, that's about all I have. I know it's kind of a quick recap. I'm still alive. I'm still working on this, and there goes the car alarm again. And it's just nice. It's nice to get back at it. It's kind of sad too. The leaves are starting to fall. I'm in a sweater, but it was really nice to finally have a long run where no part of it was in an 80-degree heat. It was cooler than 70 degrees the entire time I was running, which hasn't happened in a long time. I don't even think I got that in my midweek runs, really, in the early mornings. So I'm going to embrace this while I can before the snow or, really, really chilly weather happens. And I hope to catch back up with you guys. after it's all after a couple of weeks at least. Thanks.